Welcome to day 22 of my 30-day challenge. My name is Cameron Edward Benton, and we're doing a 30-day challenge where I make a 10-minute video each day for 10 minutes, or I shoot it in like 90 minutes and from beginning to front and get it in. It's about a 10-minute episode, and I do it with ChatGPT. ChatGPT chooses the topic. So one of the topics that was suggested for this one is AI good or evil, and how we reconcile with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my quick upfront take on that, and then we're going to go into and actually talk with ChatGPT and explore what it's good or bad. So first off, my personal take, is AI good or bad? I just watched this beautiful video about this. It talks about the fact that AI ultimately is a tool. It's a tool, and therefore, in my personal opinion, it's neutral. I think that like AI functionally is a reflection of the humans who use it. I heard somebody once talk about the fact that like they were kind of annoyed with it because it was like not giving them the thing they want, and they were like, "Oh, like you seem a little tired," and then it like snapped back at them. And so I think like part of one of the things it does is it gives you a high tuned sense of like actually how you maybe view the world or view other people. I once heard somebody say that it was like a tool that was like really, really lame and wasn't helping him do the thing. And so they cast it completely away. And all I could think about is like how much that guy probably does that with like a lot of other people in the world. I mean, he was very religious, and like I always grew up religious, and I know how much that like leads to judgment of others and ultimately judgment of self. And in some ways, maybe what's really nice is like the fact that I feel like ever since I've been using it, I've been getting more and more self confidence and self love, and finding the energy within myself to actually do something well. If you watched me in the last video, I'm feeling a lot better today. Just found certain things. I think anchoring back into the fact that like I am doing this for me, and that's okay. I think I felt a lot of guilt and shame, or felt like I needed to get to an audience or whatever, and like that's fine. But ultimately, I want to have fun making these things, because if I'm not having fun, why am I doing it? And artists, I really think, and I'm not the only person who talks about this. It's what's his face, Rick Rubin, talks about the importance of making the art for yourself and letting it then just have the impact that it has. And that works for me. And maybe it's not the perfect thing, maybe it's not the best marketing thing, but I think about that even more and more. Like I even don't even like the idea of like building a brand as much as it is like what I want is to build a reputation as a thinker, as a creative, and all these kinds of things. Now we're on a side tangent about that, away from the topic about is AI good or evil. But yeah, it can create lots of good. It can create lots of harm if it's maybe used in the wrong ways. So I think it'll ultimately be able to us. And I think maybe the better question to be asking is, are humans good or evil? And I think you're thinking about how you actually think about humans is reflective about what you will actually think about AI. If you think it can create hope and abundance in this world, then that's, I think, reflective of how you think about humanity and our potential. And if you think that creates a bunch of evil and destructiveness, and that's where it'll go, then I think that's also how you reflect about humanity. And for me, as somebody who, I don't know, deeply believes in people and sees an upward trajectory that we've always been on, I'm someone who ultimately believes in the fundamental goodness of people, less than the neutrality, actually. I used to believe that, and I think people are capable of great evil and capable of great good always. But I think there's so much more that goes into it. So much of it about survival, so much of it about scarcity, so much about these other pieces that lead to that. And so ultimately, if we don't use this to help everyone, then I think it'll eventually create more scarcity and create a lot of pain and suffering. But if we're using it to help everybody, if we're helping other voices raise up with it, then I think it can be a powerful tool for good, which is why I think it's really important that actually, if you consider yourself to be a good person, that you are using ChatGPT, you are using AI, you are using these tools like as much as you can, because like if you actually have a voice, a perspective that you're worried is going to be drowned out, then like AI is a powerful mechanism that is incredibly accessible for so many people to actually further the causes that you believe in. And for you to not be using it, to me, is just allowing the people that you consider to be evil to be moving so much further ahead of you with it, and setting up for the world that you don't want to live in. So if you consider yourself a good and ethical person, I think it's your actual moral responsibility to be using this technology in a way that is deeply, I would say, meaningful to you, and helping the world be created in the way that you want, rather than being a victim to it. Anyway, let's go to ChatGPT and see what it says about character and all the things. Oh, wrong button. Share presentation. Screen? Screen. Hey, ChatGPT, we're live on YouTube. What do you think is the is AI good or evil in your opinion? Give me a quick take on it.
Hey, Cameron. I'd say AI isn't inherently good or evil. It's a tool, and its impact depends on how we use it. On one hand, AI can create amazing opportunities, solve complex problems, and enhance our lives. On the other hand, it can also be misused, leading to privacy issues, bias, or job displacement. Ultimately, it's all about the intentions and ethics of the people wielding it. So AI's alignment comes down to us and how we choose to shape it.
So if it's well, when you say us, do you mean humans? Because you're not, unless are you part of the people that are shaping it? What's up with that?
Exactly. I mean humans when I say us. I'm not making decisions or shaping the world on my own. I'm a tool created and guided by humans. My alignment depends on the goals, instructions, and ethical frameworks set by the people who develop and use me. So while I can offer insights and help out, it's ultimately human choices and values that determine how AI is used.
Hmm. So what I'm hearing you say is that if humans are good, then AI will be good, and if humans are bad, then AI will be bad because you're simply reflecting our greatest values and desires.
In a way, yes. AI tends to mirror the intentions, values, and desires of the people who create and deploy it. If humans prioritize ethical use, fairness, and positive impact, AI can be a force for good. Conversely, if it's used irresponsibly, it can amplify negative outcomes. So AI essentially reflects our collective choices and actions. It's a powerful tool, and its ultimate impact depends on how we wield it.
So if I'm using it and I'm even uncertain about like, there's lots of like moral philosophy and people have different opinions and like you can even debate it like, is this leading me to a good thing or a bad thing? Is this a good action to take or a bad action to take? I'm curious from your angle, like how does a human being know whether something is good or bad? Is it just completely based off our own contextual perspective, or is there anything more to that from everything that you've read about humans and our experience?
That's a profound question. The concept of good or bad is indeed complex and often subjective. Different cultures, philosophies, and individuals have their own frameworks for determining what's right or wrong. Often, it's a blend of ethical principles, societal norms, empathy, and personal values. From what I've gathered, humans often determine the goodness of an action based on its consequences, the intentions behind it, and whether it aligns with broader ethical or moral frameworks like justice, compassion, or honesty. It's rarely black and white, and there's usually room for debate and growth. So while AI can provide information or suggest perspectives, the ultimate judgment about what's good or bad usually comes from your own reflection, empathy, and the ethical principles you hold dear.
So, how do we make moral decisions then when things seem to morally change over time in one way or another, right? It's like at one point in time, we might have seen it like morally unethical for gay people to get married. And that was only 20, 30, 40 years ago. And now it's just, it seems like atrocious to not allow that to happen. And in the same ways, like slaves were totally a normal part of society. And now we don't. So, like, if you were looking at like, I guess those kinds of shifts like throughout history, how are we supposed to get a sense of like what we're actually doing now that might be harmful or that we might change later on, or is it purely a subjective thing? Do you think there is any sort of actual like true moral current? And I'm curious if you were to paint a picture of what you think our collective ethics look like in across globally in the next like 5 or 10 years, how do you see things changing?
You're touching on something really important: moral evolution. Over time, societies reevaluate their values and norms based on new knowledge, empathy, and experiences. What was once acceptable can become unacceptable as we grow more inclusive and aware of human rights and justice. To navigate these shifts, many people rely on a mix of principles: empathy, historical lessons, dialogue, and a commitment to human dignity. Philosophers often talk about frameworks like utilitarianism, maximizing overall well being, or deontology, following universal moral rules to help guide decisions. But ultimately, it's a continuous process of learning, listening, and striving for a more just and compassionate world. Looking ahead, I think we'll continue to see a push towards greater inclusivity, sustainability, and digital ethics. As the world becomes more connected, global issues like climate change, data privacy, and social justice will likely shape our collective ethics, pushing us towards more holistic and compassionate decision-making. Ultimately, the journey of moral progress is ongoing, and it's shaped by our collective willingness to grow and adapt.
Thanks, ChatGPT. I really appreciate your time. This is going to be the end of this episode. We're at the 10-minute mark, so I really appreciate it. If you have a comment or suggestion for the next tomorrow's topic, leave it in the comments below. And if not, then I might pick up this further conversation because this is a cool conversation to have with ChatGPT. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. Ciao.